Hello the internet, hope you're all well, thanks for stopping by. I have a GT7 guide for you today. I used to do loads of these things and I've not done one in over a year. I've barely played the game in over a year in fact. There's been a lot of content dropped over the last few months, including some very expensive cars. One of which is the vintage W196 Mercedes, the Sterling Moss era car. And it's one of the three cars I don't currently own. Two of the others are Aston Martin Invitational cars, which that's an entirely different story, but they never come up on the roulette, do they, when you want them? But I do want the Mercedes 196 and it's 20 million quid. Now I've not played the game in so long and I've only got about 2 million quid available to me, so I needed to do some quick grinding to get some money very fast. And I'm going to show you a way of doing it. Now, have you heard of AFK? You may have seen those three little letters crop up on the internet occasionally. It means away from keyboard. And it's a way of grinding credits in racing games without actually having to do much in the way of input. And it's great because a lot of us, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, you've got full-time jobs, you've got families, you haven't got time to be spending hours and hours and hours every day playing a game. I certainly haven't got time. I've got 3 jobs when I take into account this, YouTube and product testing, and there's a few other things I do on the side as well, so I don't have that kind of time available. So AFK, away from keyboard, it's a way of playing a game with minimal input on your part, and I'm going to show you how to do it on Gran Turismo 7. Now there's a few things you're going to require for this. First of all, you're going to need a controller, you're going to need a couple of rubber bands, and you're going to need some kind of DVD case like this one, Sega Rally, which I'm currently playing on my PS3 at the moment. Now I'm going to show you how to set this up. It's a bit of a faff first time round, but once you've done it once you can save it and just load it in whenever you need it. So it's a bit of a time investment and also a bit of a credit investment, because there's a few things you're going to need. You're going to need 2 cars and you're going to need a few upgrades, but that time and that credit that you invest now is going to pay dividends. This is going to turn you around about 1.1 million credits every hour. These races are going to be held at Daytona on a 35 lap race, which takes about half an hour to do. So every half an hour you're going to need about 1 minute of your time to reinvest, reset the game and get it running, and then you're going to be earning about 1.1 million credits every hour. You're going to need 2 cars to be able to do this properly, one of which is the Dodge Tomahawk. That's going to act as the AI opposition, and we're going to tweak the settings such so that it's got a potentially ridiculously high speed, but the gearing on it means it can't possibly reach those speeds. It means the difficulty level is up here and the credit return is just as high. You're also going to need your own car. It's going to be one of the 2 low-powered cars in the game, either the Suzuki Cappuccino, which I've used many times before, or, as I've used in this video, the Honda Beat. And I'm going to do a shout out at this moment to Fury Brenton, another YouTuber whose YouTube video I used to be able to get the settings to do this particular video. So I've put a link in the comment sections. Do please go to his YouTube channel, like, comment and subscribe, show him some love, because this video wouldn't have been possible without using his settings. Okay, let's go ahead and get this set up for you. We're going to use the Honda Beat, as I say, and we're going to have 2 different setups that I'm going to run through for you very shortly. But first of all, we're going to need to put a new engine in this thing. The standard engine just isn't going to cut it, so we're going to get the upgraded engine, which is from the Honda Civic. And if you've been playing this game as long as most people have, then you're going to have plenty of these engines in stock. Once you've fitted the engine, you want to head over to the GT Auto section and car customization. You can ignore fitting any new wheels, you don't need to change the paint colour or anything like that, but we are going to the car customization parts section. You're going to want to fit a new front splitter, we're going to go with the Type A, and we want to fit a new side skirt as well, again Type A. Lastly, you need to fit a rear spoiler. There's loads to choose from here. I'm going to go with a high wing type and I'm going to go with the Type 13. Plenty to choose from, I don't think it makes much of a difference, but that's what I've gone for on this specification. After you've fitted all of that, head to the racing parts. You can ignore the bonnet pin, you can ignore the tow hook, but do fit a new roll cage. I've gone with a roll cage Type C here. Once you've fitted all of that, you need to go to the tuning shop and we're going to spend a bit of money. Well, quite a lot of money actually, but remember, this is an investment for the future. So go ahead and buy everything you see purchased on screen now. Weight reduction stage 1, the hard and medium comfort tyres, we need the bore up, we need the high lift camshaft, we want the close ratio transmission low, we want weight reduction stage 2, the power restrictor and the ballast. On the next screen, the semi-racing, we want the racing crankshaft, the fully customizable computer, the high RPM turbocharger, the fully customizable LSD, the weight reduction stage 3, and you increase the body rigidity. On the next tab, tab, we want stroke up, engine balance tuning, we want polished ports, we want anti-lag system, we want racing intercooler, racing air filter and racing silencer, we want racing exhaust manifold, racing brake pads, racing brake kit, we want fully customizable suspension, racing clutch and flywheel, fully customizable racing transmission and racing soft tyres. On the next tab we just want the nitrous system. That is very important. And then on the final tab we want the titanium connecting rods and pistons, the high lift camshaft S, and then once you've fitted all of that you should have statistics that look a little bit like this. Once you've done that, head back to the car garage and we're going to set up two different tuning maps, one for low PP, one for high PP. We're going to default it to the low PP, and that's going to make the game think that you're running a low performance car and will give you the biggest return, but then we swap it out before we start the race. I want you to copy all of the settings that you see on the screen here, and this is, like I said previously, this is courtesy of Fury Brenton. Do give him credit for these. So set the car up as close to this as you possibly can, and that is going to set the car to a low PP. Now one thing to remember is that when Fury Brenton did his video, it was before they did the recent upgrade to the game. There was an update and some things shifted around, so you may not get the exact same PP and performance points that he has, but it's going to be very, very similar. By the same account, it also means that the return that's shown on his video isn't quite as high as it is now. It's reduced ever so slightly, so do bear that in mind, but you'll still get a good return nonetheless. But at the moment we're just making sure that everything is set to normal rather than racing to make sure your PP points are as low as possible. Once you're happy you've got everything the same as this sheet here, do make sure that you save these settings before you move on. On the right hand side there's edit settings sheet, create a copy, give them both two different names so you know which one's which, and then again fill out your setting sheet just as it is on the screen in front of you now. Basically what we're doing is we're making sure that this car is as good as it possibly can be, so we're changing all of the car parts to racing spec rather than normal, and you're going to set up the car just as it is on the screen now. So all the ride height, all the downforce settings, and especially the transmission settings. So set the top speed, in this case to about 290, and then go to manual adjustment. That's most important. Now first time you do this you might not be able to get the settings quite right. Work backwards. If you go from first, second, third, fourth sequentially like that, you probably won't be able to get the same settings as shown on screen. Change the final drive first and then work backwards. You should be able to get the same settings that are on screen at the moment. So make sure the power restrictor is set to 100, the ECU is also set to 100, and the downforce is set to 50 at the rear and 0 at the front. This is where we change all the car parts that you've just purchased at great expense to racing settings or higher if you have them. Once you're happy you've got your screen set up exactly as it is on this screen, then we can look to move on to the Dodge Tomahawk. But before you do make sure that you go back to your low PP setting sheet. That's so that the game thinks you've got a low powered car and it will give you the biggest possible return. So we've done that, now we can go and set up the AI car. As I say, we're going to use the Dodge Tomahawk, assuming you've already got this. If not, you're going to have to purchase it and it is an expensive car. But like I say, this is an investment for the future. You'll make a lot more money than you're going to spend in this video. Head over to the car tuning shop and then set up the car with exactly the same things I've got in here. There aren't actually that many things to buy, so you want the power restrictor, we're going to want the fully customizable computer, you're going to want the fully customizable LSD. On the next tab, you're going to want the racing brake kit, the fully customizable suspension, the brake balance controller, fully customizable racing transmission, and the racing soft tyres. There's nothing to get in the extreme, there's nothing to get in the ultimate tabs. Your settings should look like they are on the screen there. Now head back to the car settings. You only need one setup here. You're not going to be needing dual setup like you did with the Honda Beat. So set up everything like it shows you on the screen here. Basically what we're trying to do here is set the Dodge up so that the PP is as high as possible. That's going to make the game think that this car is really difficult to beat and give you the biggest possible return in credits. Set the speed to 500 kilometers an hour, so potentially it's going to be a rocket ship. However, if you set the gearing up just like that again, work backwards, set the final drive and set it up just like that, it will make this car just totally incapable of reaching that maximum speed of 500 kilometers an hour, and you'll be able to overtake in a Honda Beat and disappear into the distance. Finish off the settings. There isn't much you can actually change now because we've not fitted anything new to the car, but just make sure everything on the screen is as it is on your screen. Then head back to the car garage and change back to the Honda Beat, because that's the car that you're going to be driving. It's only the AI that's going to be using the Dodge Tomahawk. So get back into the Honda Beat and then we can head towards doing the race. So let's go over to the world circuits on the game map, and then when you're in there, head to the left hand screen and go to the Americas. In the Americas, head over to the bottom right hand side of the screen and we're going to do the Daytona International Speedway. Now one thing to note is do make sure you've completed all of the circuit experiences, not just for Daytona but for all the circuits. They're worth a lot of money. It's part of playing the game, you'll learn the tracks and you'll usually get quite a lot of money, usually around about 1 million credits, so it's well worth doing it. And once you've done that you get a 400% bonus on your credit payouts when you do a quick race. Very, very worthwhile doing them. Anyway, go to custom race in the bottom right hand side of the screen, choose the oval layout for Daytona, not the infield section, and then in here we need to set it up as it's shown on the screen. I've already saved these. I've got one for the Suzuki Cappuccino and I've got one for the Honda Beat. Now it says 30 laps on there. That's what some people recommend, but I'm going to suggest you do 35 laps. The reason behind that is that the economy changes when you go above a certain amount of laps. You see here 323,400 credits will give you 10,780 credits per lap when you do 30 laps. If you change it to 35 laps you'll see it's still the same, you'll still get 10,780 credits per lap. But once you go above 35 laps then the credits you get per lap starts to reduce dramatically. For example, change it up to 40 laps and you'll see that it's gone down it's only 10 credits, but you can see that we've already started to lose the amount of credits per lap. And if you to move it up to say, let's go up to 100 here, you'll see that it's dramatically dropped off. It's gone right down to 6,752 credits per lap. I mean, it would be nice if it stayed the same because you could perhaps leave this on overnight, but you can't. So 35 laps is the optimum amount of laps. So that's the maximum amount of money you'll get for the least amount of input you need to do on this game. So we're going to make sure we've got 20 cars, you're starting from 20th position, you've got the rolling start. For some reason, the rolling start interval distance, I can't seem to change it. It's a known glitch in the game, you can't always change it. Some people can, some people can't. I wasn't unable to change the distance. Make sure the rest of the settings are as they are on screen, especially the nitrous boost. Change it up to 10 times. Make sure that's on 10 times. Everything else, doesn't really matter. I've changed it to night, weather as it is on the screen there. Make sure that the difficulty is professional level, and then we've got to choose who our AI are. This is important. So select from garage and then go to select from garage here, and then make sure every one of those cars, the AI opposition, are all set to the Dodge Tomahawk. It will probably set it to your Honda Beat when you first go into this. Make sure that they've all changed to the Dodge Tomahawk and that you are using your Honda Beat as your chosen car to race this race. Finally, make sure things like wall collision penalties are off because you're going to be using the wall quite a bit on this. Now once you've set the screen up as it is on this screen, then do make sure you save your settings so you can access this very, very quickly. You've gone through a lot of effort to get to this stage, but now from this moment onwards you can load up your settings very, very quickly. Now it says up there you get 377,300 credits per race, but if you get the clean race bonus of 50%, you're going to get 565,950. That is a decent return for every half an hour of work that you're going to be putting in here. Now from this moment on, the game has set in stone the return that you're going to get for winning this race. So go to settings, go to car settings and change from the low PP to the high PP. You've now got a high performing car and it hasn't affected your return on the credits. You will still get 377,000, it's up there in the top right corner. You will still get 377,000 credits for finishing this race first, and like I say, get the clean race 50% bonus and you get 566,000 credits. That is a decent return. Okay, we're nearly there, just a couple more things we need to do before we can start the race. Go back to settings, go to assist settings and make sure transmission is set to automatic. I always drive with a manual, so I do need to swap it myself to automatic here, but make sure everything else is either similar or the same as they are on screen. Doesn't make a huge amount of difference, but the most important thing is setting the transmission to automatic. Then top left of the screen, go to options. We're going to set up your controller. This is important. You want to go across to control on the top of the screen there, go across to vibration function, and for your P1 controller, turn off the vibration function. You only need to do it for your first controller. This is to just save your sanity and stop the controller buzzing away every time something makes contact. It's going to be hitting the wall, it's going to be vibrating. Now we need to go and set up the controller for the steering controls. It defaults to left stick, but we want it set to motion sensor function. That's why you need the DVD, so it props up the controller, makes it lean to the right, and it pushes the car into the wall. The last thing we need to do here is change the R1 button. It needs to be set to nitrous overtake. That's when we're going to put the rubber band over the controller and keep the nitrous on full time. It should last almost the entire race, certainly enough to get you ahead of the Dodge Tomahawks. So once you've set it up so that the steering is on motion detection and the R1 button is to nitrous, we're all done as far as controllers are concerned, and we can go ahead and we can start the race. Now there are two ways you can approach the race. You can pause the game as soon as the race starts, put the rubber bands on, then unpause it and then walk away, do nothing more. But there's always the chance that you could just graze one of the AI cars, and if you do that you will lose your 50% clean race bonus. So for the sake of about 51-52 seconds, I recommend doing manual control of the first lap. So we're going to get the car up to speed. Make sure you're using nitro boost. You can see that it's lit up red in the bottom right hand corner of the screen there, and overtake all of the AI cars. The reason why I recommend doing this is sometimes the AI come a little bit close to the wall and you will nudge them as you're going past. More often than not, they don't do that, but just on the occasional instance, they will just nudge you as you go past and you will lose your clean race bonus. So for almost exactly a lap it will take, stay in manual control, make sure you've got past all of the cars, and as soon as you get past the lead car, which you will pass somewhere around the start-finish straight line, there it is, we're now ahead, we're into first position, pause the game. When you're on the pause screen and you're happy you're ready to go, grab your controller, grab a rubber band, double it up if you need to, and put it over the right hand grip there, and make sure it's firmly over R1, your nitro button, if that's what you've got it mapped to, and make sure it's pressed down as it is there. Then take the second rubber band, again double it up if you need to, again over the right hand grip, and put it over the trigger button, your throttle, your accelerator button, and then drop it down onto your DVD so that it's leaning ever so slightly to the right. That's going to push it into the wall, and you're going to be able to do the AFK method where the car is going to drive itself around the oval at Daytona, and you're going to need to do absolutely nothing whatsoever. So there you go, that is a race complete, 35 laps of Daytona, clean race bonus 565,950 credits. Not a bad return for doing practically nothing. Like I say, it's going to take just under half an hour, so set an alarm if you need to, or just keep an eye on the clock, come back to it, and instead of exiting out the race here, go back to retry and start the race again. That way you won't have to reset the car up and it won't have any wear and tear on it. So there you go, that is the AFK away from keyboard method. All you need is one controller, a couple of rubber bands, and something to prop your controller up. I hope the video's been useful to you. If it has, do remember to give me a like, comment and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. I mean, after all, I've given you your life back. You can go outdoors, mingle, interact with other human beings, and I shall see you on the next video. Take it easy.